This is the longest open-sea fixed-link bridge in the world. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, with a construction cost of 126.9 billion yuan. However, due to the low traffic after completion, it's jokingly referred to as the Ghost Bridge. Let's take a closer look. Despite data from the Hong Kong Transportation Department showing a record-breaking total of 2.3 million vehicle trips on the bridge last year, it falls far short of its design capacity, and the bridge's utilization rate has always been unsatisfactory. According to official data, since the opening of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, the average daily traffic volume has been around 4,000 vehicles, dropping to fewer than 500 during the pandemic. In contrast, the nearby Nansha Bridge and Humen Bridge have daily traffic volumes of 90,500 and 153,000 vehicle trips, respectively. Compared to these, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge is virtually deserted. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge is a large-scale sea bridge connecting Hong Kong's Lantau Island, Macau, and Zhuhai in Guangdong. It's part of China's national highway network, G94 Pearl River Delta Ring Expressway. The project started on December 15, 2009, construction was completed on May 23, 2018, and was officially opened to traffic on October 24th of the same year. However, after the grand opening ceremony, the media remained silent because there were hardly any vehicles on the bridge. The Chinese government claims that the opening of the bridge significantly shortens travel time between Hong Kong and Macau to about an hour, eliminating the need to detour via the Humen Bridge. This creates closer transportation links between the three places, providing crucial transportation support for the development of the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Greater Bay Area. Additionally, users of the bridge can continue to Shenzhen and other places via Hong Kong expressways such as the Shenzhen Bay Bridge. However, these claims are not convincing too many. Hong Kong engineer Zhang Xunwei, who worked in Macau for 5 years, has a strong understanding of the bridge. He said that the bridge has low traffic. His bus is often the only vehicle traveling across the bridge. Zhang has worked as an engineer in Hong Kong's public institutions for nearly 20 years and moved to Macau in 2017 for work. Since the ferry system between Hong Kong and Macau has always been quite convenient, like many Hong Kong residents working in Macau, he only resides in Macau on weekdays and returns to Hong Kong on weekends or the day before public holidays. He initially thought that the opening of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge would make travel between Hong Kong and Macau more convenient, especially since the shuttle bus fare on the bridge is only 65 Hong Kong dollars, one-third of the ferry fare. Theoretically, this should stimulate more use of the bridge, but the reality is different. One primary issue is the long distance between the Hong Kong and Macau ports and the city center. After trying to take the bus once, John decided to stick with the ferry. He believes that the biggest problem is that both the Hong Kong and Macau ports are too far away from city center, making it very inconvenient to use the bridge. He told Voice of America, "I can rest on the ferry and then transfer directly to the subway to get home. In contrast, taking the bus, I need to take a car to the artificial island port, then walk for a long time in the port building before getting on the bus. The bus journey lasts only 40 minutes before I need to get off, and then I need to take another bus for almost an hour to get home. It's very exhausting if I take it after work." Additionally, transportation to the bridge ports is very inadequate. Currently, Macau has only 2 bus routes connecting the bridge ports and the city, so each bus needs to detour to reach the port. Even taking a taxi or driving from the famous city landmark, the Casino Lisboa, to the port takes at least 20 minutes. Compared to that, the transportation facilities at the Hong Kong port are slightly better. Due to the proximity to the airport, all buses from the airport to the city area also pass through the port, but it still takes at least 30 minutes to reach the Kowloon city area. Zhang said that he and his colleagues also know people who drive directly between Hong Kong and Macau every weekend. However, because it is a long and tiring journey, they all prefer to take the ferry. Furthermore, the cost-effectiveness of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge is not high. Other transportation methods from the mainland to Hong Kong are more convenient and economical. For example, taking the high-speed rail from Shenzhen only costs 75 yuan, the subway costs 68 yuan, bus tickets range from 38 to 63 yuan, while the ferry ticket price is 108 yuan. However, small vehicles crossing the bridge need to pay a toll of 150 yuan and a fuel surcharge of 55 yuan, plus parking fees in Hong Kong, resulting in a high total cost. In addition, transit buses cost 200 yuan, shuttle buses cost 300 yuan, ordinary trucks cost 60 yuan, and container trucks cost 115 yuan. Another reason the bridge is dubbed the Ghost Bridge is the huge gap between investment and return. In 2008, the governments of Hong Kong, mainland China, and Macau reached a consensus on financing, estimating a total investment of 385.4 billion yuan, with mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau contributing 44.5%. 42.9% and 12.6% respectively. In reality, after additional funding from the Hong Kong government, in 2016, the construction of just the Hong Kong section alone received an allocation of 117.7 billion Hong Kong dollars, greatly exceeding the budget. However, the actual usage of the bridge after its completion fell far short of expectations, with only 1.52 million vehicles passing through in 2019. Founding chairman of Hong Kong's public policy think tank, the Professional Commons, Albert Lai, criticized the Hong Kong government for not conducting sufficient engineering assessments when planning large-scale infrastructure projects. He pointed out officials were not held accountable for issues such as overspending and delays. He stated that the situation is the result of a failed political system. Even if officials encounter problems, they have the support of the pro-Beijing camp, so they cannot be held accountable. Since they are not elected by the people, they do not need to leave their posts, and overspending and delays will not have serious consequences. In order to increase the usage of the bridge, the government implemented the northbound traffic for Macau vehicles and northbound traffic for Hong Kong vehicles policies in February and January 2022, respectively. Even with the policy relaxation, it's not that easy to get on the Kong-Zhuhai-Macao bridge. For example, although the northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles policy attracted 17,000 applicants in the first round, only 1,600 were approved and qualified to use the bridge. This is because the policy requires applicants to hold both Hong Kong and mainland driver's licenses, and conditions were very strict. According to regulations, applicants who are from overseas or from Hong Kong and Taiwan need to establish a company in the mountainous areas of Guangdong with total investment amounts of 400,000 US dollars and annual tax payments in the mainland of over 20,000 US dollars. For people established companies in non-mountainous areas, the specific total investment amount needs to be over 100 million USD, with additional tax payments of over 40,000 US dollars. In addition, Macau merchants establishing companies in Guangdong also need to have a specific project investment of over 400,000 US dollars and annual tax payments in the mainland of over 20,000 US dollars. During the validity period of the contract, each merchant can apply for one Hong Kong-Macau personal vehicle entry and exit permit. So applying for Guangdong Hong Kong Macau 3 region license plates requires financial strength and a considerable investment in Guangdong, with the investment amount not likely to be less than 820,000 US dollars. Even if a transit permit can be obtained, the number of private cars owned by residents of Hong Kong and Macau is relatively small, totaling only about 600,000. In contrast, across the border, Shenzhen has about 3.9 million vehicles, and Zhuhai has around 660,000 vehicles, so the main vehicles driving on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao bridge are actually private cars from mainland China. Driving private vehicles onto the bridge isn't very convenient for mainlanders either. To cross the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao bridge, you must have a license from either Hong Kong or Macau. For a full journey, you need a Guangdong Province Z license, along with Hong Kong and Macau licenses. Missing one means no access to the bridge. Further, getting these licenses is quite expensive. Specifically, licenses with an annual tax payment of over 150,000 yuan can apply for the first commercial vehicle quota. Those with over 500,000 yuan can apply for the second quota. Those with over 1 million yuan can apply for the third quota. From here, for each additional 1 million yuan in annual tax payment, an extra quota can be obtained, up to a maximum of 15, which includes all previously obtained Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau commercial vehicle quotas. In other words, acquiring a license requires having industrial operations and paying taxes on the mainland. Rumors suggest that the price of a Z license has now soared to around 70,000 US dollars. Economically, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao bridge may struggle to break even. From the first day of operation, the bridge has been incurring losses from meeting its investment scale. Even considering potential future growth, the total income from the bridge is unlikely to cover construction costs. The Chinese government claims that amidst China's current developmental bottleneck, such large-scale projects are necessary to stimulate livelihoods. It is argued that the bridge construction not only addresses unemployment issues in various regions, but also catalyzes economic development along its route. However, many believe that since its opening, the economic impact of the bridge on nearby regions has been minimal. The primary reason is that the bridge does not connect to Shenzhen, and vehicles from the three regions cannot cross. Although allowing Hong Kong vehicles to travel north has increased traffic to some extent, there hasn't been a significant change. According to Li Jiaobo, scholar at the Asia-Pacific Institute of Business at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, it may take decades to break even. If the bridge were to have a railway connection to the three regions, the situation would certainly improve, but the cost would also significantly increase. Some analysts believe that the operation of the bridge is facing many challenges, and the economic return has high uncertainty. The bridge's break-even may require more time, or it may never be achieved. Looking at the current traffic situation, it's worth questioning whether the construction of the bridge was necessary in the first place. According to data released by the Hong Kong Immigration Department on March 29th this year, on the first day of the Easter holiday, around 126,000 people departed through the bridge and the Hong Kong-Macao ferry terminal, 30,000 fewer than those departing via the Luohu or Luk-Ma-Chao route. However, on the same day, only 54,000 people arrived in Hong Kong from Macau via the bridge and terminal, accounting for less than 15% of the total inbound traffic. In short, among those traveling between Hong Kong and Macau, the number using the bridge is actually quite low. Several factors contribute to this situation. Firstly, Macau ranks relatively low in outbound tourism choices. Secondly, the allure of Hong Kong is no longer as strong for Macau residents as it once was. For instance, a counselor, Lin Mei-ling, who works in government departments, told Voice of America reporters that she no longer wishes to go to Hong Kong because prices there may be higher compared to the mainland, and there's a disparity between service and price. For example, the quality of service is poor when dining in restaurants, and the overall experience is also unsatisfactory. For Hong Kong residents, if they have sufficient financial means and longer vacations, they tend to prefer traveling by plane to Europe, America, Japan, or South Korea, or spending their money in Shenzhen or Guangdong province. Additionally, there are significant differences in driving regulations between Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China, which cause trouble for many people who drive, discouraging them from traveling to the mainland. Firstly, Hong Kong and Macau follow Western European traffic rules, driving on the left side of the road. This means that when driving in Hong Kong and Macau, vehicles should keep to the left side of the road. So when drivers are on the bridge, they need to cooperate according to the rules of driving to the left. However, once they leave the bridge, drivers must immediately adjust to the mainland traffic rules, which require driving on the right side. Secondly, the road design and traffic flow in Hong Kong and Macau are relatively advanced and well developed compared to the mainland. The roads are more spacious, flat, and traffic flows smoothly. The traffic facilities are complete, including highways, overpasses, tunnels, providing drivers with a more comfortable and convenient experience. In contrast, the road traffic in the mainland may be worse, especially in urban areas with severe congestion, requiring drivers to pay more attention to safety and drive cautiously. Meanwhile, the enforcement of traffic rules in Hong Kong and Macau is more rigorous. For example, traffic signals, lights, and signs are more standardized and detailed in Hong Kong and Macau, and traffic violations are punished more severely. In contrast, although there are traffic rules in the mainland, enforcement may sometimes be relatively flexible, and penalties for traffic violations are more arbitrary. Due to the many differences in policy and law enforcement regulations between the three regions, travel has not been fully liberalized. Mainlanders, even on free trips to Hong Kong, must comply with local regulations. For example, carrying valid identification when going out is mandatory because police checks can occur at any time. Not carrying ID is illegal and may result in being taken for identity verification. Additionally, people point out that Hong Kong residents are not only unwilling to travel to the mainland for leisure, but also dislike working and living there. Why is that? Firstly, the wage gap is a significant issue. The Hong Kong government launched the Greater Bay Area Youth Employment Scheme in the past 2 years to encourage Hong Kong university students to work in the Greater Bay Area. One condition is that the government will subsidize wages to ensure a monthly salary of no less than 18,000 Hong Kong dollars. In contrast, some companies in the mainland may offer a salary of 5,000 yuan. In this case, the Hong Kong government would provide an additional subsidy of 13,000 yuan to meet the 18,000 Hong Kong dollars guarantee. There are also differences in lifestyle habits and rules. In mainland workplaces, hierarchical suppression and socialization culture are common. In Hong Kong workplaces, people focus more on their respective roles and responsibilities rather than hierarchical relationships. Managers and clients maintain a certain distance after eating together, and work is not discussed excessively after work hours. If work needs to be discussed on weekends, overtime pay is usually provided. Hong Kong residents like to use Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, but in the mainland, they may need to give up these habits because of internet censorship. These factors collectively lead to Hong Kong residents rarely choosing to work in the mainland. Regarding the Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, in recent years, the Hong Kong government has repeatedly emphasized its commitment to the quality of its engineering and stated that it will fulfill its regulatory responsibilities. However, a series of accidents has raised doubts in Hong Kong society about whether there are corners cut in the construction. For example, incidents such as falsified pressure test reports for concrete and photos showing the disordered displacement of artificial islands breakwaters have attracted public attention. Previously, Hong Kong media exposed several issues with the bridge's Hong Kong port artificial island, including the relocation of steel cylinders, suspected collapse of seawalls in the filling area, water leakage in the building, and smoke from the equipment room. Although authorities stated that these incidents did not involve safety concerns, after some engineering issues were exposed, the Hong Kong government had to send personnel to the mainland for inspections, sparking doubts about Hong Kong's ability to supervise the bridge's construction. According to the trilateral government agreement, the main part of the bridge's design and construction should adhere to mainland standards, with Hong Kong and Macau standards integrated if they are of higher standard. However, engineer Li Guangde pointed out that while there are corresponding standards in hardware design, there are not equivalent requirements in terms of procedures and management. That although the Bridge Authority emphasizes the participation of these three regions, it was actually led and spearheaded by mainland officials. The governments of Hong Kong and Macau are passive and need to inquire with the mainland multiple times to obtain information. The independence and accountability functions of Hong Kong media and the Legislative Council has compelled the Hong Kong government to provide more information related to the bridge, promoting greater social scrutiny and discussion.